Hello everybody, it's Delilah and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my new living room. This is the first time I filmed a sit-down video in our new house. If you're new here, we just moved to a new home. We used to live in a 730 square foot starter home, recently moved to a 1500 square foot, hopefully forever home. I have two kids, Eloise who is 3, Theodore who is 1, and I vlog my life. I share my life here on YouTube, but I have been for the last 4 years. Today I'm going to be filming a casual Q&A video. I went over to Instagram, got you guys to ask me questions. There were so many questions. I had such a hard time going through them because, this is Winston, by the way. There were so many questions and there weren't even repeats. Like, there were so many different good questions. So I'm going to try and answer as much as I can today while I fold laundry. I have a mound of laundry I need to fold, so we're keeping this super casual today. You guys loved it the last time I did a casual laundry chat type video, so that is what we're doing today. Questions I'm going to be answering today are a little bit of everything, a little bit of house stuff, a little bit of marriage stuff, mom stuff, personal stuff. There's a good variety of questions. So starting off, question 1, what parts of the house are you not renovating? That would be interesting to hear. I mean, eventually everything's gonna be renovated. We're obviously keeping the big barrel ceilings. If you haven't seen our house, I would recommend you go watch our empty house tour. The big barrel ceilings, we are definitely keeping. The big arched windows, we're obviously keeping. The living room and bonus room, I mean, not a whole lot about those is gonna be touched. We are replacing flooring throughout the entire house. Just so that it's completely cohesive, because right now there's 3 different floorings, and we want it to just be hardwood throughout all the house except for the bathrooms and the mudroom. That's going to be tile. All the walls are going to be painted, and then that's kind of it for the bonus room and the living room. So those are the places that won't be touched much, but everything will be renovated in time. Are you baptized? How did you decide to do it? I am baptized. Both Zach and I are baptized. We got baptized before we got engaged. So we were 18? I was 18. I had started attending Zach's church while we were dating. It felt like the right thing to do for me to be baptized into that church. We had both dedicated our lives to Christ quite a while back. We've grown up in Christian families. A relationship with Christ is something that we chose for ourselves after, hearing our families, being in church, just seeing firsthand Christianity and how it's lived out in other people's lives, and just the joy that Christ gives. And we felt that joy for ourselves, and we wanted that for ourselves. So when we were 18, we both got baptized into the same church, and shortly after that, like not even a month after, we were engaged. When did you settle into the boho style that fits you and your family so well? I would say, honestly, it took me absolutely forever to figure out what my style is, and it's still kind of evolving a little bit, and it probably always will. But I would say I started settling into this style that I love so much around the end of Theo's pregnancy, and it kind of just evolved and took off from there. Would you be friends with someone whose faith does not match yours or isn't religious? Yes, of course. I have many friends who are not Christians, and just because they're not Christians does not mean that I can't be friends with them. Just because someone doesn't believe the same things that I do doesn't mean that I can't be friendly or love them or be friends with them. I feel like that's such a thing in 2020. Like, cancel culture is so real, and as soon as someone doesn't believe the same thing that someone else does, they can't be friends anymore. And I just don't agree with that. Do you get scared having your life on the internet? Yeah, I never used to. Honestly, when I first started YouTube, I was not scared to put my life out there because I didn't think anything would ever happen with my channel, and then all of a sudden it suddenly started to grow. And the more that it grows, the more scary it is to be vulnerable and to put my life out there, and to even, like, sometimes sharing a casual video, sitting down, answering questions, folding laundry can be scary to put on the internet. And every time I upload a video now, it's not just excitement, it's a little bit of nervousness almost. Like, I don't know, just the more that my channel grows, the scarier it is, because I know more people are watching and more people are tuning in and more people know about me and my family and my life and a lot of personal things in our life too. I'm a pretty open book. I don't like to keep a lot of stuff secret. How have the kids been with the transition to the new house? Really good, actually. They transitioned so well, so quickly. Like, I was surprised. I thought it was going to take a long time. I thought we were going to have a lot of really rough nights, a lot of emotions, and I mean, while we've had a few rough days, they don't even want to go back to the old house. They don't even want to go there, be in that house, be around it, even talk about it. Like, as soon as we mention the old house, Eloise she just doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to go there. What are the renovations that you're looking forward to the most? I would say the kitchen. We have big plans for the kitchen and it's gonna look so cool when it's all done. It's gonna be very like cottagey, cozy, kind of rustic, not farmhouse. Not a fan of farmhouse, but a little bit vintage. Lots of cozy textures and tones, and it's gonna be so nice if it all comes together, and I'm sure it will. But that's gonna be a massive, massive renovation. Probably won't happen for a number of years because it's gonna cost a lot of money, and we are anticipating that. One thing Zach and I both want to do as renovating this house is to not cheap out too much, to not cut too many corners, and to do it well and with quality materials. That'll up the resale value and it will hopefully last longer as well. What was the hardest part about starting a YouTube channel? Understanding the program, because I had no idea how to upload a video, where to start. Even just starting a channel is a little bit like confusing and tricky, and learning how to edit videos, how to film properly. I didn't even know how to use manual settings until like a year ago. I always just shot on fully automatic. It takes a lot of time to learn all of the settings, the editing software, YouTube, the algorithm still boggles my mind. I do not understand. Just understanding the whole thing. How did the thought of starting a YouTube channel come about? So before I started a YouTube channel, I watched a lot of like pregnancy updates, a few family channels. It always intrigued me, and I always thought it would be kind of interesting to do it myself. I've always had a love for, you know, making videos and editing videos, but never really thought to share them publicly. So when I got pregnant with Eloise, I started filming pregnancy updates, and then eventually I started vlogging. And I honestly didn't do it for anyone else or for it to be a job or anything like that. I did it because I wanted to do it and because I wanted the memories to look back on. You know, it's kind of, those pregnancy updates are kind of like a journal entry and a documentation of my pregnancy. And then the vlogs are just memories, and I'm big on memories. Best thing Zach has cooked for you? On our first wedding anniversary, was it our first or our second? I think it was our first wedding anniversary. Actually, fun fact, our first wedding anniversary was the day we found out we were pregnant with Eloise. So it was an extremely special day. And I think, if I remember correctly, that was the day that Zach cooked for me. He made like a teriyaki glazed salmon or something, and roasted asparagus and a rice, like a coconut rice, I think. I don't fully remember it, but I just remember it tasted really good. Sweet or savory? Sweet, always. Inspiration for the kids' room, excited to see how you switch it up. For the longest time, I could not decide what I wanted to do for the kids' room, even for our bedroom. We did recently do a bedroom makeover in the old house, and as we were doing that bedroom makeover, we ended up buying this house. So we did the whole makeover and then moved right away. I don't think we're gonna do the same thing this time. I think we're gonna go a little bit more old-fashioned because Zach and I love character style homes, and we always go back to character style homes. We love vintage furniture, vintage pieces. We love going to like vintage malls and seeing what they have and just oohing and awing over the furniture, and we really like a bit of vintage, but we don't like everything vintage. Like, to live in a fully vintage home would be cool for a little while, but I don't think I'd love it full time. So I think we're gonna go a little bit boho, classy, kind of vintage, a bit mid-century modern. Basically, I'm going for a bit of a vintage, cottagey, cozy vibe in our home. I want to keep it subtle with minimal colors and keep it mostly tones, and then add pops of color here and there with accessories if I ever change my mind. But I actually do have a couple of Instagram pages that I take huge inspiration from, as well as my Pinterest. I'm always pinning things on there. So if you want to follow me, I'll link it down below. But I'm always pinning things on there for like my wardrobe and for house makeovers, bedroom makeovers, everything. Body image issues. Have you ever had any, and how'd you deal with them? I have struggled with this in the past, especially when I was a teenager, when Zach and I first started dating. I've talked about this before in previous Q&As and random vlogs. I've never gone into much detail, but when I was about 16, I really struggled with my body image, with what I looked like, with who I was. And I started dieting. And I didn't tell anyone I was dieting. I just started doing it. And the dieting eventually turned into just eating less and less and less and exercising far too much. I lost a good amount of weight. But eventually, years later, I discovered that the deeper issue was not actually my body image. It was the fact that I struggle from IBS and extreme bloating every single day. And that bloating is what was getting into my mind and what I was really struggling with. Bloating it sucks. It's uncomfortable, it hurts, and it's just something I've always struggled with, like constant bloating all day, every day, my whole entire life. It actually got a little bit better after I had Eloise, which is interesting, but it's been bad again lately, and it just sucks. And I often get asked if I'm pregnant, but I'm not. It's just food and air. How did I deal with them? I drew closer to the Lord, and I leaned a lot on Him, and I rested in His promises, and knowing that Christ made me. He knit me together in my mother's womb. He knows me. He knows every part of me, and He still loves me, and He made me just the way He wanted to make me. He made me beautiful in His image, and I have to believe that. I can't just fixate on the things that I don't like about myself. Nobody else sees those things. Nobody else worries about those things. It's only in me, it's only in my head. I need to love myself for who I am. It took a long time to get that processed in my head. And now as a mother, it's all the more important, especially because I have a daughter, and I don't want, this is gonna make me emotional. I don't want my daughter to remember me as the mom who wouldn't go swimming because she was self-conscious about what her body looked like in a swimsuit. If I don't want my daughter to think that way about herself, I need to be the example and teach her how to love herself by loving myself. Do you have a worship music Spotify playlist to share with us? Actually, I've just been listening to some of my favorite artists lately, not specific playlists. If you have any good recommendations for Christian playlists, leave them in the comments below. But my current favorite artists are Josh Garrels. Love his voice, he's incredible. Corey Asbury is a new one I've been listening to. Really love his voice as well. And Chris Renzema. All incredible Christian artists. Would it be okay to send you my homemade earrings from my small shop? Of course, yes, I would love it. Actually, the earrings I'm wearing right now were sent to me by a subscriber. She does beautiful work. I absolutely love receiving handmade personal gifts sent to me in the mail. It's so sweet, and it just fills my heart with so much joy and appreciation for you. So yeah, of course, if you want to send me something, I have a P.O. box. I don't have it listed anywhere because if I ever cancel it or change it, it would be a lot of work to go and change it everywhere. So if you want my P.O. box, send an email to hello@delilahlepke.com, which is always in the description box. And just let my assistant know that you would like to send me something, and he will send you my P.O. box. Does Zach like your style and way you decorate? I think so. He doesn't really put up a fuss about it. He just makes fun of me sometimes, so I think he does. I don't think he really cares. What was your biggest fear getting married so young? Nothing. I had no fears about getting married young. Actually, where I live is quite common, or not where I live. In the community I grew up in, it's quite common to get married young, and I was excited to follow suit. Why did you leave the beautiful shelves in the old house? Okay, so if you follow me on Instagram, I shared a little bit of an empty walkthrough of the house, and a lot of people were asking me why we left the shelves behind. The reason is, well, first of all, there wasn't really a place for them in this house. If we're going to make shelves in this house, we'll probably make new ones or maybe buy them from somewhere else. And they were pretty screwed onto the wall, so they kind of had to stay. What would be your biggest advice for a first-time mom due in March? Congratulations! For a first-time mom, my biggest piece of advice is try not to worry. I know that's a hard thing to do, especially for a first-time mom and you have no idea what you're doing. You've all these new experiences you've never experienced before, but trust me when I say, don't worry. It's gonna work out. It's gonna be fine. If your baby's hungry, they will let you know. If your baby needs a diaper change, they will let you know. If they're unhappy, they let you know. So that was my biggest thing, especially with breastfeeding, is the nurses would push it so much to nurse every 2 hours. And I understand where they're coming from, but like, just don't stress about it. Do what you feel is best. You're their mother. You know them better than anyone else. You've got that mother's instinct, and that mother's instinct is real. So trust it, and try not to listen to all of the other opinions that will be thrown your way. How different is it being a Canadian influencer instead of American? Actually, this is kind of funny, because everyone just naturally assumes that I'm American. But I'm not. I'm from Saskatchewan, Canada. In reality, it's not that different, but there are a lot of things like, especially when I'm working with brands, a lot of the time they assume I'm from the US, and when they find out I'm actually from Canada, they back out of the brand deal because they can't work with Canadians or they don't work with Canadians. And that's one of the most annoying, frustrating things, especially since most of my audience is from the US. There's small things like almost every time I do a brand deal, it's in US dollars instead of Canadian dollars. So there's always that transfer. The famous question that I was asked repeatedly and continued to be asked repeatedly, when is baby number 3? A, I'm not pregnant. B, I don't know. Have you had people recognize you from your videos while you're out in public yet? Yeah, there have been a few times. When people have come up to me or asked if I was Delilah, and then they say that they watch my videos, and it's always so cool, but I am the most socially awkward person, so if you ever happen to meet me in public, I apologize in advance. I'm very socially awkward. Best date, inexpensive night for busy couples. Something that Zach and I really love to do. It can be really expensive, it can be really cheap depending on the products that you buy, but we really love to go to the grocery store, get a bunch of different cheeses, a super cheap wine. We prefer the taste of cheap wine, so you get some cheap wine, some crackers, then relax on the couch with a big charcuterie board, have candles lit, and just watch a light-hearted show. That's one of our favorite things to do. Will you ice dip in your pool in the winter? I live in Scotland and swim all year. Question for you who live in Scotland. What's the weather like all year round? Because here, it gets to minus 40 degrees Celsius in winter, and we definitely cannot have a pool running all year because it would break all the pipes. Things would burst. It would not be good. The pool is actually getting closed in a couple of days for the winter. It's being winterized and won't be open again until April, May? Probably May. We did get to have a dip in it this year though. Zach and I hosted my family on Thanksgiving weekend, Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, which for us was last weekend. It was fun. We got to actually take a proper dip in the pool before it was closed. But it will be winterized. We could turn it into an ice rink, which would be kind of cool because when we winterize it, we have to drain it about 2/3 of the way, 1/3 of the way, just so that the water is below the pipes and they blow out the pipes so that they don't burst. But there is water in there all the time. And we could just like protect the siding of the pool with some boards and turn it into an ice rink, which would be kind of fun. What do you plan on doing with all the space in the downstairs area and the red room? The red room will be painted eventually. We still have not painted in here. We have not touched the paint since we painted the bedrooms, just because it's been crazy trying to keep up with work and family life and just being a mother, wife. It's a lot. And painting is just something that cannot happen while the children are awake, which makes it that much more difficult. But eventually it will be painted. It'll just stay the way that it is, a big empty space for a few years, a number of years, until we're done renovating upstairs. Then I think we're gonna get someone to scan our basement and come up with new plans for the basement. Because right now the layout is just kind of strange and doesn't make a lot of sense. And we want to for sure have 2, maybe 3 bedrooms down there and just space to run and play. Eventually, it's going to be completely gutted, reframed, and completely redone. Does Eloise ever ask for a sister or another sibling in general? Actually, no. She never asks. And there's been the odd time where we've just asked out of curiosity, like, if we had another baby, would you like a brother or a sister? She always says a brother. She always says she wants another brother. But she never asks for another sibling. How do you time manage so well? I feel like I drop the ball with activities for my littles, keeping up house, etc. At this point, it's not even so much about managing time. It's about cramming as much as I possibly can into the little time that I have. We've taken on a bit more than we can chew. Like, I work full time. Zach is home. He doesn't work full time, but he still does odd jobs once in a while. And I mean, we're trying to move in, we're trying to organize, and then to start renos on top of it all is just... We're trying to get a better grasp on managing our time, and it's very overwhelming. And believe me, I have really dropped the ball when it comes to just basic everyday stuff like our diet. I've dropped the ball on our diet, on cooking in general. I've dropped the ball on our diet, on activities. I used to do a lot of like sensory activities and play activities, learning activities with the kids. I don't do that much anymore because I don't have time to look up new activities and come up with them and create them and do them with the kids. I need to though. I need to start doing that again because it's so good for the kids to learn through play, especially sensory play. And Eloise, she just loves to learn. So I need to focus on that more, especially like in the morning while they're awake. I need to really pour more focus into that. Managing time and everything that needs to get done is hard. What is the biggest way during your move that God has worked in your life? Just seeing how he has provided. Everything just worked out so smoothly. The kids transitioning so well, Winston transitioning really well. The fact that this house came at what feels like just the perfect timing. Everything worked out. Like Zach being laid off exactly when he did. Like everything just happened like perfect timing, perfect timing, perfect timing. And the move in itself, like both of our families were available to help. My dad recently bought a truck and borrowed an enclosed trailer. My father-in-law has a truck and a trailer, and we brought everything over in basically 2 loads. Like it just happened so quickly and so smoothly, and it was very clear that God was present and that he is watching out for us and provides for us and cares for us. Where'd you get all of your energy? I would be dead. 2 kids, moving, reno, where? I don't have as much energy as you think I do. What you see on camera is the better me, the more awake version of me. So when I'm tired, I don't pick up the camera. The last thing I want to do is pick up the camera. And so what you see is the most energetic that I can possibly be. A lot of the day, I'm just exhausted. Why did you stop wearing bangs? COVID. COVID hit and then I couldn't cut my bangs anymore, so I was like, well, time to grow them out, I guess. I don't trust myself cutting my own bangs. Now they're finally at the point where I can actually tuck them up and they'll stay for the most part. So now I don't know if I'm gonna go back to bangs for a while because it takes so long to get through that growing out phase, and now that I'm finally there, I think I'll just keep it for a little while. How did you know Zach was the one, and what qualities made him a good hubby and father? I just knew. I don't know, there was no questioning it. There was never any doubt whether or not Zach was the one. He was always so kind to me, and he treated me so well. He treated me better than I ever thought. Ooh. He treated me better than I thought I deserved to be treated. And he was, didn't think I would get emotional. And he continues to. And seeing the love he has for his mother, his father, his sisters, seeing how he treats them, and he goes above and beyond to help them, and the fact that we share the same faith, we believe the same things, there was never any doubt. How are you, just as a young mom, a wife, and a woman in general? Overwhelmed. Thank you for asking, by the way. Overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed, but in a very happy, good way. Like, so many exciting things are just happening. Exciting things with YouTube, exciting things obviously with the house and with moving, and like, it's a very, very busy time, but a very happy time. Are you planning on taking any walls out to make your new house more open concept? Yes and no. Our home is pretty open concept as it is. The only thing that's kind of closed off is the kitchen. The only wall that we're gonna knock down is the wall between the bonus room and the kitchen. I think we're going to just, instead of knocking the whole wall down, just create a large arch between the two rooms. It'll go well with the barrel ceilings. There is an arched doorway between the dining room and the living room, so it'll kind of match. And then of course the arched windows. It's kind of a theme in the house. And so I think we're just gonna do a big arched doorway or walkway between the two rooms. And then it'll open up the space, but also it won't be an issue with like load-bearing walls or whatever those are called. I don't think that would be an issue. That's the idea, that's the plan anyway. Does Theo really just fall asleep when you say night-night and close the door? If so, teach me. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, especially at nighttime, or nap time, sorry, he does really well at nap time. He's almost excited to go to bed. At nighttime, it can be a little bit more of a struggle, especially because we did stop the night feed recently, which is something I will talk about in a future video. I think I'm gonna film a video about how I am weaning and have weaned my children. Oh, my feet hurt so bad. They are very asleep right now. I think a lot of that came from just forming really good habits ever since he was a newborn, with napping and having him, fall asleep on his own. But we did gently sleep train him when he was about 4 or 5 months old. I actually filmed a whole video on how we sleep trained Theo. It was a more gentler version. He was in our bedroom the whole time, and we were continuing to co-sleep and feed throughout the night. So if you want to watch that video, I will link it below. As long as he has a room alone, his blanket and his soother, he's good. Have you chosen which flooring you will get? I am honestly dying to know. A wide plank is beautiful. We have chosen a floor, and we have ordered that floor. In the last vlog, I touched on some of the reasons behind the decision that we made. And I've been going back and forth on this decision for so long, and I've been talking about it for so long, but we have officially decided to go with the wide plank flooring. I know. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see what it looks like in this space. It's gonna be just so beautiful, and I feel like the color, the texture, the wide plank is really timeless and will suit the open concept space really well. I'm gonna miss this flooring so much though. Like this is the kind of flooring I've always dreamed of having, and now we're ripping it out. But I talked about the reason why. It's not that we want to rip it out, it's just trying to keep it, to replace it, to replicate it. It's just too expensive, way too expensive. So we ended up just going with new flooring. And that's it. That's all the questions I had saved. There were so many more questions though, so I want to try and do Q&As on a more regular basis. I want to try and do one with Zach as well soon, probably a marriage Q&A or a parenting Q&A of some kind. Thank you all for your questions and for being here, for watching my videos, for supporting me. I love you so much, and I'm blown away by the amount of support that I have. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you enjoy this style of video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.